lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Matt Williams got a brilliant start from the third row of the grid.
He's gone, he's hit him, he's straight off at the chase.
A half-second lead. Oh, but it's sizzling colour in the background.
He has it. Oh, he's round on the last lap.
There's a massive, massive accident.
Next to the inside, what a move, what a move.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 4 of the Automobilista Australia Group A Championship. I'm Chris Riddell, and with me, as he is every Wednesday night we do this, Michael Zalavari. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 4. And Chris, I'm surprised. You missed something.
What have I missed?
It's the New Zealand round.
Where's
the Maori?
I put it all in the description this time.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I guess that's fine.
Which I've just Google translated, so I'm not entirely sure it's right. But, Tēnā koutou, katoa. There we go.
There we go. The tradition now, what, three times we've been to Pukekohe with TCAC, with the, various guises that you've done a intro for us full on in Maori?
Yes. Yeah, I'll slip some Māori in during the commentary, it's fine. So yes, Pukekohe Park Raceway. Pukekohe Park Raceway. I'm ignoring you. Pukekohe Park Raceway, round 4. It's a great little circuit, this.
This is like your happy little hunting ground, isn't it? This is your over the pond, your little specialty.
Mm-hmm. Let me find, because I just realised the track map hasn't been loaded into my streaming software.
Well. Okay, while you do that, have you been to Pukekohe Park in real life before?
No, I've only been to Auckland once because Auckland's a hellhole.
Wow, okay.
I say that it's a South Island, North Island thing. We hate the North Islanders, they hate the South Islanders.
Okay, fair enough. So you're a South Islander.
I am a South Islander. But yeah, it's 10 turns. It's absolutely well balanced, as I said before, between the cars. You've got a couple of nice slow corners. The flat out stretch around the back along the railway line, turn 4 or 5. Then the complex at the back towards over the hill. Murph's Mound, McLaughlin's Mound, probably Devenish's Mound tonight.
Maybe. Yeah, and we're using the 1989 version of the track. So this is before safety, before there was such things as risk and and accidents and worrying about money and people. This is the full unadulterated back straight with no chicane in the middle, and
it's glorious.
It's a little terrifying, I gotta say. Running a few laps in practice, when you see that wall coming up on you and as you hit the brake pedal at like the very top of 5th gear, it's a little terrifying. You're just like, please brake, please brake, please brake, please brake.
And then you go, oh yeah, I've stalled myself slightly, but I've stopped for the corner. It's fine.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, so full unadulterated back straight. And yeah, I think there's also a little bit of a reprofiling in the last complex of corners, which means that it's a little more open than it is nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So expect to see like the more nimble cars like the BMW and the Mercedes close to flat over the hill, which is terrifying.
That's how you like this place.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and just hello to everyone in chat. Got Kristen, Higo, and Luce89 jumping in the chat saying hi, and
Lewis Wedding,
and Bailey the dog as well.
F in the chat for Bailey the dog. No, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. But it's going to be a very good race, especially if you look at the championship standings. Because oh boy, are they tight?
Yeah, we saw at the end of last round. I'm not sure if you've got them up on stream at the minute, but 3 drivers within a single point for the lead of the championship. Will Devenish, Scott Nolan tied with Brenton Hobson just a point behind. And it's close for the next little group as well. You got Lime Mitch in there, and I think I just need to find my own championship standings.
You got Lime Mitch on
Cracker.
70 and Cracker 67.
And Ozrob in an actual car, a painted car today, not in a ringing machine. So we'll show him on stream. We'll get him to you able to see what he looks like. Will Devenish has also had an updated paint scheme as well. But yeah, really, really close in the mid-pack. Hans, Wayne Spencer, Brock Harvey, Steve Bolger, all very, very tightly packed, which is giving them a lot of interest as we move to a bit more of a flowing circuit with this one. But it is just a really, really balanced racetrack. And we saw times in in practice rather, as the guys are beginning to roll out to the end of the field for qualifying. We saw times, the top 6 cars separated by less than half a second, featuring the Mercedes, the HSV, the Nissan, a Sierra, and the BMW and the Volvo as well. So expect to see a wide variety of cars at the front, which is really exactly what this sort of series is meant to produce.
Yep.
The cars are out on their qualifying laps.
Yep, now we've jumped on board with Termo for a lap here, who's actually driving a ringer machine tonight because he had issues with his file for his real car. So you're coming through turn 2 now. You can get away with taking a lot of curb there if your car's nice and stable. Through one of the slower corners on the track around turn 4, then along the back straight, along the train line, through the, as he warms up his tyres. This track goes on for ages.
It feels like it, but it's actually only a 58-minute lap. So, 58-second lap. What are we doing, Targa Florio over here?
Yeah.
So here is the braking zone right at the 200 board, and it feels like it's an age to bring the car to a stop rather. And then here's the little bit more open-ended final sector that you'll be able to see here. So up through this corner and then over the right-hander, you can hear a bit of a lift there for Termo as he gets all the way over to that apron and gets the rear out a little bit, and we're off to start a flying lap here on board Termo's ringer machine.
We'll stay on board for the whole lap, see how he goes first out. 10-minute session, all drivers on board. Beautifully through turn 2, beautifully done. A little bit of curb on 3. That's actually really nice through 4 as well.
He probably could have taken a little bit more curb through 3 there and try and arrow the car wider to get that longer run down the straight, but he's done a decent job. He actually has I'm trying to find it, just outside the 13s, so not quite the absolute peak pace that we've seen in practice, but there's the braking zone for this corner, and he's going to slot in with a 36.3 to the second sector, a big wobble in the middle of the corner as he gears himself up for this fast section to finish off the lap.
And in this HSV, he's just full flat out. Balls to the wall. Oh, he lifted there.
He had to. And as you see, I think that's Lime Mitch off in front of him, very sideways. Yep. And he comes across the line, goes into second, and then immediately eclipses to third. So Brenton Hobson at the moment has the fastest lap. He's put in a 58.5, so that should be more indicative of the times that are going to be closest to the top.
Now, Will Devenish, his livery hasn't loaded on stream. We'll get that for the race.
You sure?
It hasn't loaded for me. Does
it say temp?
Yeah.
That is the livery.
There you go. Just watching him come through the second sector now. What does he set for the second sector? Where is he on? We have live timing up tonight, which is a plus.
Hey.
He's just coming.
Big wobble through the final sector. Big wobble. But he's going to cross the line, and he's third fastest. So at the moment, it is the Synergy Sim Racing HSVs of Hobson and Nolan. Nolan is 3/10 up on his PB to the second sector mark. I've just got eyes on Hobson coming across the line now. And he goes a bit further up. 58.4. Yep. Nolan's going to eclipse that if he gets the final sector nailed. And he gets the big slide on.
So easy to do there. The car's unweighted as he come over the crest. And no, he doesn't mention improve.
He lost 3/10 in the final sector. So, interestingly, it is the Volvo which is the quickest in the first sector. The Volvo of Hans Brunswick has the purple sector 1 at the moment. Brenton Hobson's HSV is the fastest in sector 2. And in the last sector, I don't quite have eyes on who is fastest as of yet. But it looks like Hobbo has the time to beat at the minute.
Yeah. Just saw Steve Bolger jump up to 4th, 58.73. Good lap from the Gravel Rash Racing BMW. Now,
he's going on with it. He's got the fastest first sector this time around.
We'll stick with him here for the completion of this lap. 6 minutes to go, so already some hot times coming in. We saw last week. It's really hard to set a good time late in the session. Hobbo's just gone fastest again.
Wow, big gap at the front now. 58.1 for Hobson. And Bolger, he's 3/10 up on his PB, but he's lost a lot of time down that straight. That's going to be the push and pull here. It's going to be managing that straight and seeing where people are stronger. We might be worth him going on board with a Sierra at one point to see how they're coping compared to the other cars as Bolger comes over the hill very sideways, catches it nicely, and he jumps up to second. Great lap.
Go back to Matty Swass in the Volvo because he's just across the line. Oh, he did set a purple sector, but he must have dirtied his lap because that has not counted. That was a great lap from Bolge.
Yeah, well, sincerely well done there. I've got eyes on line Mitch now, currently 14th place. He's just come through the first sector, 7/10 up on his PB and 1/10 away from Hobson's time. So this is going to be one to watch. I think the Nissans are going to be strong here, along with the Volvos, because they're decent all-rounders. And he's a second up on his personal best, 2/10 away from Hobson. Let's see if he can get this final sector nailed down.
All about keeping it stable as he comes through the penultimate corner now, and then absolutely tears up the final. Oh, my phone just binked. He actually held that. A bit of a wobble, but he's held it, but it's going to be 58. He lost a lot of time that last sector.
Yeah, not ideal in that last sector. I think that little wobble took a lot out of him. I'm trying to find some other people that we might expect a little further up, as we've got just on 4 and a bit minutes left in the server for qualifying. Let's have a look at Peter Siraj.
Yes.
Running the Percy Jackson Ringer Sierra. He's going to cross the line. It's jumping to 17. So that's actually, for those watching along at home, that's actually Lewis Wedding running a bit of a joke name tonight.
Okay, Lewis.
So classic Lewis, classic AMS Oz shenanigans.
Yep, looking at Dane Licciardo now coming across the final corner. Oh, he's had a lot of grass there. He's going to probably throw this lap away. Yep, 17th place currently for him. 3.5 minutes to go. I want to go down to 13th. This a new name, Philip Boak.
Maybe a new name to you, but certainly not a new name to those watching AMS Oz. He's been a AMS Oz Supercars champion, I think, twice, or in the team's capacity with, I think, Brenton Foley. And has run other AMS Oz competitions like the GT3. So he's had his arm twisted to join Mike Coulston tonight in the Team Antara Texaco BMW. So he's running alongside the Saudi Camel tonight.
Okay. He's warmed up the tyres nicely, giving him the one final go. About to start his lap now.
Let's jump on board with the BMW, see how they take the first few corners in comparison.
There we go, got the roof cam going, the hamburger cam. Very aggressive.
Very nice over the curb. And this is that wider line I was talking about, trying to open up the straight to make it as long as possible. And you're going to need to do that in the BMWs and the Mercedes because of that straight line disadvantage. So he's up by 3/10 on his own time, but down by 2/10 on the overall pole time. That's probably going to slip away a little further as he comes down the straight. BMW can afford to brake a little later. You can see how deep he's going under brakes here as he hits the second sector marker, half a second up. Actually didn't lose too much, which is very good for Boak as he's coming into the final sector now.
We'll see
up over the hill. Let's see if he lifts.
Significant lift.
He ran it very nicely though. It didn't seem to lose it that much time. He's going to cross the line and jump into 7th place. It's very tight at the top. 3/10 covering the top 7 cars. He was actually. We've got. I think it's. Let's have a look here. We've got 4.5 tenths covering the top 10 at the moment. With Lime Mitch in 10th place. So we've got a minute and a half left to qualifying. It's going to be very, very tight for the last throws of the dice for people.
Yeah, we'll watch Hobo come across the line, then we'll look off the camera at the start-finish and see what happens. I don't think this lap from Hobo is going to improve his time. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle over the hump. And he comes across the line, yet doesn't improve. But we'll see how he goes as we lock off the camera. And we'll see cars... Oh, I've broken the camera.
Well done, Chris.
Alright, that's good. Now, we'll watch Devenish come across the line, then we'll try that again.
Yeah, so Rasmussen's just jumped up into 2nd place. He's gone 13 thousandths behind his teammate. Will Devenish, and then I think behind Will is I can't quite see on the live timing screen. It's a bit of a mess at the minute, live timing. Everyone's coming through. He's gone to the top.
Wow.
58 flat for Will Devenish.
That's an impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've 30 seconds ago, I've locked off the camera now. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on cars as they come across. We have the Mercedes coming across the line there. That will
be Brendan Ross, I think.
Ross, yep. No improvement from Rossi in that case.
Oh, we got Damien Rasmussen coming through.
Roddy's just jumped up to 19th. Cecil's into 18th place now. Now this is Hobo coming. Oh, no, not Hobo.
That is Hobo, sorry.
This is Hobo. And now we've just got
Peter Surridge, Lewis Wedding. He doesn't improve.
Oh, we have a car spun.
Bolger improves. He jumps up to 4th.
We have a car spun at the apex, or the runoff of the final corner.
I think that might be Will Devenish. Oh, maybe not. Maybe Glenn Miles. Probably Glenn Miles. We got Wayne and Matt Swass coming across the line.
Who was that? It was the 355 Nissan just getting incredibly sideways, flicking a styrofoam sign at our camera.
That might have been 355. That might have been Ozrob. A lot of people diving into the pits now, so we might not see any more new laps. We still got Brendan Hobson on a hot lap and Lewis Wedding. Lewis Wedding's coming through the final corner now. Let's see what this lap holds for Lewis.
3 tenths down at the moment.
Green on both sectors.
And finds the green. And he comes across on 4th place. Great lap.
Well done. And I think that's it. I think the only other person on track at the moment is Wayne Spencer, down in 15th, and he's given it away. So I think that's everyone.
All right. Well, so fastest times came early in that, but Will Devenish, 2nd week in a row on pole position.
Yeah, great lap. Let's take us through just the gaps here, because some of the gaps at the top of the field were just crazy. It's just impossibly close at the top as the server resets, and I lose all that data. So let me just go find that for you.
I can try and... I've got a...
I've got it here. I've got it here now. So, Devenish takes pole, 58.068. Less than a tenth behind, 0.08 of a second behind is Brendan Hobson, and then 13 thousandths behind that was Damien Rasmussen. Bolger was only 0.17 behind Devenish to go into 4th, and then it was Scott Nolan 2 tenths down. So the top 5 covered by 2 tenths. Hans, Lewis Wedding, and Ozrob were next. Ozrob and Lewis Wedding were the same time in the end for 7th and 8th. Maybe that hasn't quite updated because we saw Lewis Wedding go into 4th. So we'll have to get that updated. But at the end of the top 10, in fact, in 11th place, Lime Mitch, half a second behind. So that top 11 separated by half a second. In fact, the top 16 cars separated by a second here. So we're going to be seeing an absolutely close, range of speed. And the important thing for me is that every single car type is represented in that top 7 cars. So you've got the Merc, the HSV, the BMW, the Volvo, the Sierra, the Nissan. The only one that's missing is the Holden Commodore, and that is Luke Joyner's the highest placed Commodore in 10th. So it doesn't seem to matter what car you have here. It seems to be competitive,
which is what you
want, at the very least. Yeah, exactly. And it's a really interesting mix because you've got that massively long straight cut up with those high speed and low speed corners. So it's going to be a very interesting race tonight to see who can wrangle the most out of their car.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So just got straight to a line match in practice, nearly flipping it off the turn 3 curve. But brilliant. It promises to be a fantastic race. And you talked about the diversity in the cars up the front. It was kind of like that in real life too.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Okay, so Pukekohe 500 started in 85, but Group A started in 86. That year was won by John Harvey, Neil Lowe in the Holden Commodore. The Holden Commodore won the following year with New Zealand legend Denny Holm, Australian legend Larry Perkins.
Oh, beautiful.
But the interesting thing, right? this race as well, it's had wildly varying car counts. That first year had 35 cars. The second year, 15.
Oh, wow.
The third...
Why was that?
Various reasons. The 87... The Wellington 500 was sort of around at the time as well, and that was sort of the marquee New Zealand race around that really funny little street track in Wellington. In 87, it is actually around at the WTCC. So you had like Emanuele Pirro and the foreign riders come in to race at Wellington, and they didn't go up to Pukekohe. Whereas in 86, it was part of a 2-race championship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a bit of a disparity in the championship entries.
Yeah. But so it was, and that continued. 87, 88, you had 20 cars. Race was won by Andrew Medicki.
Wait, Andrew Medicki, relation to like Greg Medicki?
George Medicki
George Medicki, that's the one.
Yeah. And he was paired with Steve Stoper in that year, and that was in a Ford Sierra. 1989, race was won by some guys named John Bow and Dick Johnson.
Oh, bet they were like no names, right?
Yeah, no names in a Ford Sierra. Second place was Peter Brock and Paul Radisich.
Another pair of no names.
What car were they driving?
BMW.
Wrong. Ford Sierra.
No. Oh, okay. Wait. Did you say Peter Brock and Ford Sierra?
Yes, I did. He did that again in 1990 when he actually won the race with Andrew Medicki. Yep. I
feel like my entire world has just been shattered by that.
Yeah. He was back in the Commodore in 1991 where he finished third. Second place was Emanuele Pirro and Joachim Winkelhock in the BMW.
Wow, those are some names.
Yep. And the winners of that year, as you could probably imagine...
Dick Johnson and John Bell?
No, the Nissan Skyline GTR. Richards and Scott.
Oh, yeah, of course, because that would have been by the time Godzilla had come around.
Yep. And then the last year of Group A at Pukekohe was a 35-car race. Won by...
Hello, Brock.
Won by Emanuele Pirro and Joachim Winkelhock.
That's crazy. So for those who maybe don't follow international motorsports as much as we do, the names Pirro and Winkelhock are pretty big in sports cars, specifically GT3 at the moment. Well, GT3 for Winkelhock. Joachim Winkelhock's son, Marcus Winkelhock, races for Audi and WRT. But Emanuele Pirro went on to win Le Mans, I think it was something like 4 times with Audi in the early 2000s. So that's quite a revelation.
Yeah. I'll blow your mind again. 1992, Greg Murphy finished 4th. What car was he driving?
Greg Murphy?
Yep. What car was he driving then?
If he was... It's got to be a Skyline, right?
Ford Sierra.
Oh, far out. I feel like everything I know has just been turned on its head. I can't believe he was driving 1992. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He must have been 16 or something.
He was... Yeah, that method check 16, 17.
Wow.
I mean, young Kiwi driver, of course he's going to drive the Pukekohe round.
Yeah, exactly, right.
And in 1993, the race was no longer a Group A race, but Radisich and Seaton won it in a Ford Mondeo.
Would that have been TCR? Well, not TCR, but World Touring Cars at that stage?
No. It was a Ford Mondeo. The next 5 cars on the list were Porsche 911s.
I am confused and slightly aroused. Wow, okay. Yeah. So it's had a bit of an interesting history through the Group A era. Yeah,
it's very interesting history. I don't remember seeing any of the Pukekohe races on TV because it's all, I really remember Wellington a lot more than I do any of those. If only the Wellington street track was in this game.
Well, we might have to put in a sly nod to someone to maybe build it for us. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. People in the chat.
Yeah, so Higo's just posted, Brock drove a Sierra because it was more reliable than the Holden.
That doesn't sound right.
And then he moved back to Holden when they sorted their package out. It was, of course, it was the first year the Group A was the VP, from memory.
Okay.
Wasn't they were developing the car.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kiwi.
No problem.
just some housekeeping before we get into the race session, which we've just ticked over to now. We didn't see Brock Harvey or Mike Coulston run qualifying laps. They were excluded from qualifying due to collisions last time around. Actually, I don't think Brock, why didn't you get into qualifying?
Qualifying. I'm on 12.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, we just didn't get him on stream at all because he was nowhere.
Rest in peace. So you will see one or two drivers at the back. I think we've also had John McDonald jump into the server as well. And then we'll be able to go through our 24 car grid. 25 car grid, wow.
Yeah.
25 car grid for tonight's action.
As we're away.
So leading us away, once again, is Will Devenish in the striking white temp Mercedes. And he leads away a pair of Synergy Sim Racing cars. First, Brenton Hobson in the 88, then Damien Rasmussen in the 221. Peter Suraj, Lewis Wedding, is out of 4th place in the Sierra, so he did jump up to 4th at the end, breaking up the SSR train as well with Steve Bolger, who was relegated to 5th. Scott Nolan is out of 6th in the 3rd of the Synergy Sim Racing cars, and then it's the first of the Volvos, Hans Brunswick, the Curie Brunswick Volvo, and then Ozrob in that new livery Skyline, the 555, a bit of white, red and blue on that one there. Phil Boak, pardon?
The McLean's toothpaste car.
Oh, beautiful. Phil Boak jumps into 9th in that BMW that he's running for Antara Motorsport, and then Luke Joyner in the Dale Smith flooring number 7 is out of 10th. Blind Mitch is the first of the Nissans, second of the Nissans in 11th, and then there is Brock Harvey in 12th. We did end up finding you in the end, Brock. Cracker is out of 13th, and then it's Matt Swass and Wayne Spencer in the number 50 HSV. Brendan Ross in the second of the Mercedes, in the pearly white Mercedes there as well. Then it's Termo in the Ringer HSV. Dane Liccardo is in the number 335 Nissan. Then it's Matt Cecil in the Norton Hornet. Rody out of 20th. Manuel Centino in the Wildcat Sierra in 21st. Glenn Miles 22nd. And we've had Brian Walsh disqualified. Okay, we might catch on to what's happened there. John McDonald out of 23rd. Mike Coulston out of 24th. And then whatever's happened to Walshy.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. I wonder what's happened. Unless he didn't get off the line or something like that. Unless he's had a failure.
That would make sense. The game would DQ people for that. As we just see the cars starting to file in now. 24 cars to take the start. As we see the Peter Jackson number 30 just roll back slightly. This is going to be a great race. Quickly, who's your pick?
I kind of want to say Brenton Hobson just so he doesn't complain that much. No, I think Will Devenish will have the measure of him tonight.
Yeah, I'm watching out for Scotty Nolan. All right, we're just waiting for the last car to grid up. Should be ready to go any moment, any tick of the clock now. Waiting for the dings. Unless Walshy's DQ's done something.
We're waiting. Classic AMS Oz, right?
Yeah, and we're server reset. Server reset.
Wow. Okay. We'll have to go again.
I
wonder what happened to Walshy.
Yeah.
We might have to do some investigating as everyone just launches themselves off the line.
Yep.
For funsies.
As they do. All right, let's try this again, shall we?
Okay, I'll let you run through the grid. I'll go investigate and see what happened.
All right. Well, we'll just wait for the cars to get themselves onto the grid. Automobilista Australia. It's a great game when it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Still better than a Forza, though. Strap yourselves in at home. We should be in for a fantastic race. 50 minutes. The drivers have been talking about maybe even needing to put fuel in their cars during this race. So it promises to be really interesting strategy race. If you're putting fuel in, you'd definitely go 4 tyres, I would imagine.
That actually sounds like a good plan. I was hearing in the practice session beforehand that people were looking to have to put fuel in as well. Yeah. So we might be 4 tyres might be the way to go. I have an update on why Walshy got disqualified. He actually got his fuel numbers wrong. Went back to the pits off the grid to change them, and then accidentally crossed the pit exit line. while the field was gridding up. So got disqualified for that one. So
Oof.
we'll depending on how nice everyone is, he might be able to start from his earned grid spot of 23rd. Otherwise, he'll get relegated to the back, maybe, perhaps. No, it looks like he's starting from 23rd. So
Oh,
good luck.
All right, let's try this again, shall we? And away we go. Warm-up lap number 2.
Okay, we'll go whiz through super quick this time. Will Devenish from pole, Brendan Hobson second, Damien Rasmussen in third, Peter Siraj, aka Lewis Wedding, out of fourth in the Ring of Sierra, Steve Bolger out of fifth, Scott Nolan in sixth place, Hans, the first of the Volvos, in seventh, Ozrob out of eighth, ninth is Phil Boak in the BMW, 10th is Luke Joyner in the Dale Smith Flooring number 7 car, Lime Mitch out of 11th, Brock Harvey in 12th, don't flash your lights, Brock. I told you. Tracker 13th, Matt Swass 14th, Wayne Spencer out of 15th, Brenna Ross in the Ringer Merc in 16th, Turmo in the Ringer HSV out of 17th. Dan Liccardo, hopefully he has a better race today, but hopefully he doesn't blow his engine in the first corner this time around. Matt Cecil out of 19th, Rody 20th, Manuel Centino 21st, Glenn Miles 22nd, Brian Walsh taking the grid this time in 23rd, John McDonald 24th, and Mike Coulston rounding out the field. A big mix of cars, a big variety of drivers, and hopefully we get to see a ding-dong battle all through the field with the strengths and weaknesses of these cars shown to the best that they can be.
We can only hope. It's going to be a good old race, this one. Go on board with the Hans, get the Hans fan club happy.
Get it out of the way early.
Exactly. There you go, Chris. They were talking about t-shirts before, so...
Oh, ew. Hans doesn't need a bigger ego, guys. Come on.
Well, he hasn't been in the car in the warm-up laps when we were on board with him, so that's something, right?
I guess. So 50 minutes tonight, we should be looking at around maybe 53, 54 laps as well, at about a minute a lap, or just under. So hopefully no safety cars. Hopefully we get a clean race start to finish.
Yes. Safety car... We haven't seen a safety car yet all season. I reckon this track's one of the ones where you might be likely to see it.
Quite possibly, yes. I'm also maybe a little worried that we might see a big pile up at the turn 3-4 complex, or maybe even at the hairpin at the back of the main straight. So fingers crossed we don't see that today. Hopefully everyone keeps their wits about them.
Just now we've got the cars gridding up. This time we should be right to go. No random DQs this time around. Looks like
everyone's got their fuel numbers right.
Yep, looks like Manuel Centino's just a bit slow getting into his grid spot. There he goes. So there's the roadie just coming over the hill now at the back. Alright, we should be right to go this time around.
25 cars, yet again. Huge numbers tonight. And hopefully we get treated to a great race.
And we're away. Slow start from both pole sitter, but Hobu was also equally slow. Further back, 3 wide action with Scotty Nolan trying to get down the inside of Hans, backs out of it that time around. Coming through turn 1. Whoa! Devenish.
Big wobble.
I think Hobson managed to go to the back of Devenish there.
Hold. And there's a crash further back. It looks like that's Cracker that's been turned around. And I think that's Rhodey's come across the track and cleaned up John McDonald as well.
Yes.
But it's still Devenish and Hobson out the front. And Hobson's got a great run. He's got the inside line and the power, and he's going to sweep past that Mercedes to take the first place to head down to the hairpin for the first time.
We saw Matty Cecil start from the pit lane as well. Probably smart.
Wise move, wise move. As they come down to the hairpin, and it is Hobo who holds the lead. And they all managed to sneak through this time, but this should be the section where the Mercedes is strong. The top 4 have kind of separated themselves away from the field now as they come through the sweeping section.
And having around a complete lap 1, it will be Brenton Hobson from Will Devenish, from Damien Rasmussen, from Not Lewis Wedding. Scotty Nolan, 5th. Lime Mitch will be in 6th place. Then Hans and Ozrob. So relatively clean opening lap apart from that first lap.
There's been a little touch on the main straight. Manuel Centino got tagged by, I think that was Mike Coulston's got sent around. So more problems down the back of the field. But everyone at the top half has been pretty well behaved so far.
Yeah. Relatively clean, actually, as we see the 2-2-1 of Rasmussen now driving past Devenish to put him a lap down. And Wedding's going to go with him as well.
Yeah, very opportunistic from Wedding there. He might even grab Rasmussen too as they break for the hairpin for the second time around. Not quite as good on the brakes as the Sierra, so the HSV's 1 and 2 this time going through. And look who's just in the background of shot there. That is Scott Nolan as well. So could possibly see an SSR 1, 2, 3 in short order. It looks like the HSVs have the all-round capabilities early on today. Maybe we'll see them on, maybe it's the tyre as well that's just helping them out. They all file through turn 1 once again.
So yes, SSR 1, 2. Anyone further back has... Oh, I pushed the wrong... computer. There we go.
What have you done?
It's... My camera's just gone into... There we go. We're good. My camera just decided to have a moment. Sorry about that, everyone watching on stream, but Damien Rasmussen in second place. He's actually going to close right at the back of Hobson in the draft. Looks to the outside. That's a very brave... Oh, that was a very late move, but he thinks better of it this time around.
It's the classic switchback. A faint outside, dive inside.
Yeah, couldn't get it done this time around.
Now, this is very interesting here because we can already see that despite Will's outright lap pace, he doesn't have what it takes to really stay with the faster cars in that straight line. So he can gain back all he wants through this section here, and he's doing a very good job of it too. As soon as they get out of turn 4 onto that back straight, as Lewis Wedding sets the fastest lap of the race, a 58.8. So very, very good time from him. As soon as they get out of this corner here, Will's absolutely a sitting duck. So he'll dive on the inside of the Sierra now and take that quite easily. But watch this as they go down the back straight and see him get absolutely monstered by Lewis Wedding towards the other end. But we've got a battle on for the lead as well. Second verse, same as the first, it looks like, except Rasmussen's really terrorizing the rear. He's got the inside line this time around, dives on the brakes, and he's gonna take the lead. Yes, he is.
Oh, there's a bit of a touch on next. It didn't quite have the overlap done, but he has muscled his way through. Great move from Rasmussen in the end.
And he's broken away a little bit as well, really closed the door. So that's enough for him to take the lead and confirm it. So well done to Rasmussen. So it looks like actually Lewis Wedding's had a little bit of a problem because he's dropped away from that top 3. And Devenish now sets the fastest lap of 58.5. So well done, Will.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on board for the Sierra for a lap. I want to see... Obviously, we talked about it earlier, but let's just jump on board for a little bit. As you see up front... Thought Hubbard lost that for a second there. There we go. Scotty Nolan. We'll see if the HSV can close on him on this long straightaway. Are you talking about the HSV just a little bit stronger?
Just a little bit. At the very top of the rev range, the HSV seems to gain a lot on the cars around it. So, yeah, you can see the HSV's kind of dips away at the end of the straight, whereas the Merc, for example, really struggles at the top end of the gear range.
Joe, I was on board there. I thought I heard the Sierra lift and coast a bit.
That might just be how bad the brakes are, to be honest.
Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Unless Lewis Wedding is doing some MLG Pro strats, which wouldn't be beyond Lewis Wedding, really, considering his prowess in GT3. He also got very wide there, managed to keep it on the island.
Woo, woo, well held. Further back, I think we had Hans and Brock Harvey engaged in a bit of a battle.
Yeah, Hans has gained that position back from Brock as the Commodore looks to the inside. Not quite going to get it there. Very close to the rear of the Volvo. Brock's actually done a good job to jump up 2 positions from the start. Termo's done an even better job, up 5. He's leading off this train from 12th down to 16th, 15th. But in that group is Steve Bolger, who's down 8 positions from his starting slot. So not an ideal first 5 minutes for Bolger. He's going to lose another one here thanks to the Volvo's better top end. Speaking of Volvos, Brock Harvey just made his way nearly on the inside, tried to get past Hans, but Hans just got a bit of traction out of the corner. And it's made the position for now. It's actually Brock Harvey's vulnerable to Peter behind him. Quite possibly, as they come over the hill. Damien Rasmussen, fastest lap of the race, 58.3. So he's doing work at the top of the field. And he's actually dropped Brendan Hobson by a little bit as Hobbo is very much under fire from the Mercedes. Less than 0.2 of a second the gap between them as they come onto the back straight once again. Yep. Well, I think Philip has actually just lost it. No. Just out of turn 2, he just gassed it up a bit. Or, just spun it and away he goes. He's coming out in 16th place. Shame for Phil. Shame for the Group A newbie. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for Phil. Unlucky, you might say, as well.
Now we've got is that Matty Schwass on the inside of Termo for 11th and 12th, and the Merc behind him is actually it's a nice little 4-car train. This.
Yeah, and that was the one that I mentioned earlier with Brendan Ross and Steve Bolger. Bolger now down to 14th. He's really struggling racing in this BMW. Remember, he qualified in 5th, so his must be maybe nervous around other cars, or just can't quite work out how to maximize the BMW's pace. We've got Termo going down the inside of Matty Schwass. A little bit of contact there in the mid corner, and the Volvo comes back at a bit more contact that time around, and Schwass actually had to go to the grass to get through that corner. So, maybe a bit of bit to look at for the stewards post race. We'll see what comes of that later on.
Yeah, I think Termo he was very impolite.
Forceful.
Yeah, it was very impolite, giving him not a lot of racing room, but I don't think there was too much in it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree as well. One of those very forceful Group A moves.
Yep, which you had to make. Now, we're going to go back up to that battle you talked about for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, because that's close right up. Hobo, Devenish, and Wedding. Right, nose to tail. Oof, we saw a bit of tyre smoke from the Mercedes coming through turn 1. Notice that the Mercedes has just got a little bit of a wider line, and it sets it up beautifully.
He's got a lock on, and he's gone wide, but he's actually gonna hold it.
Wow, how did Hobo hold that one?
How did he manage to survive that?
Surely the Merc's got a better drive off that corner, so the dive might be on. Oh, the dive is going to be on Lewis
got
Wedding.
An even better drive. Look, there's bump drafting down the back straight. Lewis Wedding really pushing the Mercedes in. Now the Mercedes has a chance to go in on the brakes. Hobo leaves just a little bit of room, but this is where the HSV might have a bit of an upper hand with the drive out of the corner. He's got the inside line for these next 2 corners, does Brendan Hobson.
But the Mercedes doesn't back out at all. He's going to hold the inside and take the position from Hobo.
Oh, well done, Will. Great recovery there. And he's got to actually pay a little bit of dues to Lewis Wedding, because I don't think had Wedding pushed him down the straight, he wouldn't have been able to make that move there.
That's very true. Bump draft. Series shouldn't be bump drafting cars bigger than them, though. That's just not going to go well. So, yeah, that's... Meanwhile, Darren Rasmussen now checked out to a 2-second lead.
Yeah, Rasmussen's been very consistent with his lap times. While they were all squabbling behind, doing mid-59s, Rasmussen's put in another 58.6, so very, very consistent. But this group behind battling is continuing on. Hobo is forced around the outside this time around and can't quite get the same drive out of that corner to challenge Will for that spot. Can you believe it? We're already 10 minutes into the race. It's been cracking stuff so far.
Absolutely fantastic. And clean, too.
Oh, maybe not. I'm looking at the battle between 8, 9, and 10. Luke Joyner, Hans Brunswick, and Brock Harvey. That's very scary, going 2 wide, 3 wide through the final corner.
Brock Harvey is giving Brunswick a bit of a push now. Is he going to try and make it 3 wide? That would be madness coming to turn 1. Thinks better of it, backs out. Joyner's going to find himself odd man out here if he can. If Brock can hold it, he's going to get that position on Duke Joyner as well, but Joyner squeezes him for room and holds on.
Wow, very well done by Joyner there. He had just enough racecraft there to just squeeze Brock enough to make him back out of that.
Yeah.
But in the end there, Hans actually got both positions, so good on Hans on that one there.
Meanwhile, this battle still isn't going anywhere. Devenish, Hobson, and now the Sierra is trying to stick it down the inside, coming to the second to last corner. That's ballsy. You can't do that.
It's very tight, very, very tight. Lewis Wedding is the master of consistency and strategy in GT3, so it wouldn't surprise. It's very interesting to see him go up against Hobson, who's the master of consistency in TCAC that we've seen prior. So we'll check the runs out of this corner this time. Hobson seems to go very deep into the 2 and 3 chicane, which serves him well in spacing himself from the Sierra. But I'm going to jump on board the Sierra here and see what Lewis has in store.
Yep. I'm looking back from Britton Hobson at the Sierra, just slowly closing, slowly closing, slowly closing. And he's going to have a look down the inside, is he? Yes, he is. And he's going to get the move done.
Oh, big send, a little bit of contact in the mid-corner. But Hobson, he got the drive out. They're going to go side-by-side through turn 7. Sierra has a little bit more under the hood. They're going to go side-by-side again into the final corner. Can the Sierra hold on? And shuts the door, but compromises his exit. Now Hobson's got the inside run. Can he get the power down to go through turn 1? This is cracking stuff they had through turn 1. And Lewis Wedding closes the door. Well done. Great driving from the pair of them.
That was craziness. I'm going to try to bring that up on a replay. That was... No, replay's time is not set. Oh. Tell you what we didn't catch on replay. Hobo nearly lost it coming over the hump.
Wow. I completely missed that. I only saw the camera angle from Lewis's shot. So amazing stuff there.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And that's exactly as I just see. I think it's Scott Nolan and Liam Mitch in the background. That's absolutely using your pace advantage to your advantage, using where you're fast compared to another driver or another car to its absolute maximum. And just a quick aside, we've actually got the top guys lapping the field now.
We do indeed. Rasmussen's a couple of seconds behind the Walshy car.
Yeah, so they've already gone through. Rasmussen's already passed through Rhodey, so it's going to be Walshy, Manuel Santino, Dane Liccardo, and John McDonald is going to be the next group. Rhodey does well to get out of the way of Devenish behind. Santino does well to get out of the way of the pair of them as well.
13 minutes in.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise. Remember, some of these guys were involved in some of the early lap fracas right at the very beginning as well, so that certainly hasn't helped.
Rhodey's actually going to dive on the inside of Will Devenish. No, he can't. He's not going to do that.
No, he's not.
He thought about it as Manuel Santino goes off in front.
Yeah, Santino, that's a little bit of a rookie mistake there. And in fact, he went off in sympathy with Brian Walsh, who has tagged the wall once again.
Okay. Rhodey staying well out of the way of Lewis Wedding. Well, the traffic has done is sort of opened up the gaps between the top three. Oh, Devenish has gone off and has... Whoa. Devenish actually made it scrape the outside wall coming over the hump.
Yeah, Wedding also went off there, and in the back of shot, Scott Nolan also went wide in that section as well. So everyone was spraying it a little wide there. Yeah, it's just sort of broken up this battle, so everyone's got a bit of about a second between each other now. Impressive to see Liam Mitch recover after a bit of a poor qualifying. He's up 5 spots, and he's stalking at the minute. Not quite on the tail of the Synergy Sim racing train, but definitely within striking distance should something go awry. So we'll keep eyes on how Liam goes in that Nissan.
Speaking of striking distance, Brock Harvey's about to pronounce on Hans Brunswick at the Volvo at the hairpin, and Hans gets well out of the way, gives Brock the racing line. Brock gets it moved on to 8th place.
Well, Hans got a great run through the hairpin that time. He's right back onto the tail of the Commodore, and they've got lap traffic ahead. That's Manuel Santino that they're going to have to navigate. Luckily, Sierra has a little bit more pace and gets out of the way very nicely, but maybe the Commodore seems to have stretched out a little bit now, so not much that Hans could do about that this time around.
Oh, we have sounds like someone hit the wall. Any idea who that was?
Yeah, that was Dane Liccardo just on the exit of turn 3 in an effort to get out of the way of the leaders. So, admirable, maybe?
Admirable, but if you can do it without crashing your car, that would be preferred.
Yeah, that would be much better.
Yep. Battle between Devenish and Wedding's down to half a second. And the battle between Wazza and Peter Boak is down to nothing for 12th place.
Well, let's catch this one then. The HSV versus the BMW. So the HSV should have a little bit more pace at the very top of its rev range. They got a yellow flag in this section, so I'm not sure if that's going to allow Boak to pass, but he doesn't really care. He's gone through that time. In fact, Brian Walsh, the cause of that yellow flag, is actually DNF back to the pits, but this time Boak is on the outside for these 2 corners, so he can hold it in there. He's going to have the higher ground over the hump, gets the high ground and forces Wazza wide. They're still going to run side by side down the main straight. Great racing from the pair of them.
And coming over the line, you can't go too wide through, so Spencer does back off slightly, and that's a great move in the end by the BMW driver.
Yeah, remember Boak is recovering as well. He had an off earlier on, so great recovery drive from him so far, back up into 12th place.
Great move, yep. Where are we going now? Hans is now trying to have another Nissan, have a Holden for lunch. at the hairpin, and Brock actually dives to the inside, prevents that move, and now they've got Rhodey to contend with as well.
Yeah, so that's Rhodey and Ricardo. Yeah, just ahead of them. And I looked like, was that Ozrob who came into the pits?
I think it was.
Yes, it was.
All right,
that's a bit puzzling. So this is two-stop territory.
Oh, Rhodey just got involved in the battle between Harvey and Brunswick. We have 3 wide for a minute there on the front straight.
Lucky that didn't turn into a bigger problem. Race seems to have settled down in most of the major positions here at the minute.
Yeah.
I think the closest battle on track is still that battle between Boak and Spencer for just outside the top 10. But it's actually intriguing. I've been watching the gap between Devenish and Wedding for the past few laps as they're coming on to lap John McDonald and the HP BMW. It's interesting to see the accordion effect between the Mercedes and the Sierra. In fact, the Mercedes didn't quite get the run it needed out of the final corner, and Wedding is going to be very much on the tail as they come through the first section of track. I'm on board with the Sierra at the minute and using a lot of curb there. Oh, Devenish got a little bit of a wiggle off the curb as well, but you can see the Mercedes using its more nimble chassis stretching away from the Sierra in the slower corners, and then down the back straight, the Sierra just gobbles it up. That gap just disappears as we hit the top of 5th gear, and Wedding rolls out of it. What? He rolled out of it. That's interesting. I wonder if he's trying to pull a sneaky on fuel or something. That would be a very Lewis Wedding thing to do.
He had that pass staying to rights.
Absolutely, yeah. All he had to do was throw it down the inside, and he'd be well off in the distance. And in fact, with all the traffic that they've contended with, they've actually caught back up to the rear of Damien Rasmussen. That gap at the front now only just on a second. In fact, a second exactly this time around. So
I believe we may have just lost Brenton Hobson. No, he's in 6th place. He's pitted.
What's happened to Hobbo then?
He's pitted.
Wow, okay.
He just disappeared from my timing.
Wow. That's very interesting then. I wonder, so that's committed to the 2-stopper as well. So Hobbo and Ozrob have committed to the 2-stopper so far. Steve Bolger also comes in. Now that's interesting to me because I would have expected the guys like Bolger and like Devenish, who again is going to have the... who's in the lead of the race now? What's happened to Damien Rasmussen?
He's... Yeah, down in 3rd place. Can you get eyes on that? I'm guessing we've missed on a replay. Brock Harvey down the inside of the Volvo of Hans. Gets the move done at the hairpin. Nicely done. But Hans with his normal high line gets the exit again. What's happened to Devo? Or Rasmussen?
To Rasmussen. So he was just coming up to lap Matt Cecil and got 2 wheels on the curb at turn 3 and almost tipped it over. He was very lucky not to go over there. And yeah, that's why he's lost those 2 positions. 5 seconds slower that lap around.
Wow, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a mega shame. I was just distracted by the Volvo Nissan, not Nissan, Holden battle. Brock's going to kill me for that.
Woof.
Yeah.
Woof.
But
okay, so now this battle between the Sierra and the Mercedes is now the battle for the lead between Devenish and Wedding. Then it is Rasmussen and Scott Nolan. They've got about a second between them. Then it is Lime Mitch out of 5th. So interestingly, a few cars have dropped in after their pit stops into that section. So Steve Bolger, who's pitted, is just ahead of Lime Mitch at the minute. Then it's Brock Harvey and Hans. Joiner, Matt Swass, and Brendan Hobson's dropped out in 15th. About 10 seconds ahead of Ozrob, who was the other major 2-stopper that we're going to be tracking.
Well, he's got clear track. That's something. Would you pit about 25 minutes for a 1-stop race?
Yeah, I think that would... Well, I mean, that's splitting the race evenly in 2. I think what some people have learned from maybe last week, where the tyres, where they did 2 long stints and were caught on crappy worn-out tyres, is that getting onto the newer rubber earlier is going to be more beneficial. So Hobbo came in 2 laps ago, so that would have been maybe 20 minutes, 19 minutes, 18 minutes into the race. So that means that you've got better rubber for a longer amount of time if you run the 3 sets. So I think that's a lesson that could have been learnt from last week. As we've got Damien Rasmussen into the pits now.
Brock Harvey's just come in.
Oh, and we've got a spinner on the main straight. That's John McDonald. He's managed to avoid getting collected, and he returns to the race. So unfortunate there for McDonald. So I think the guys who committed earlier to a 2-stop are going to fare better, because they're simply just going to have better tyres for longer. Because if you think about it, while Rasmussen, if he has to pit 5, 6, 7 minutes away from the finish for a new set of tyres, he's going to have amazing tyres for a few laps, but that's maybe not going to counteract the having crappy tyres for the later part of his stint. So we'll see where they go. In fact, Rasmussen's just come out ahead of Brendan Hobson, so that kind of shows you how much Rasmussen lost by that little spin.
Yeah. Now I want to keep an eye on Hans here, because now he's finally cleared lap traffic. That might compromise him a bit for his battle with Brock Harvey, who's currently got 13 seconds of clear air ahead of him.
Yeah, potentially. He's got a little bit of room ahead of him now, which is good. But he's had to fight his way through the likes of Santino and McDonald, so hasn't been all clean sailing for him.
And now Luke Joyner's on his back, coming up to him as well.
Yeah, so difficult time for Hans.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Oh, I was going to go back to this battle between Turmo and Brendan Ross, but Brendan Ross has just flung it to the inside of turn 1, or the outside of turn 1.
Not ideal for Rossi. I had eyes on where was I looking? Everything's a little all over the place at the moment. We've got Rasmussen and Hobson coming up to lap Dane Liccardo once again. Rasmussen got squeezed onto the curb there, unluckily. So that's not ideal. And everything's a bit all over the place at the minute.
Yeah, this is sort of like we hit the V8 racing on the weekend. You sort of wait for strategy to play out before an explosive last few laps.
I hope it's an explosive last few laps. So we're at 26 minutes now. So this is almost about the time you could make a 1-stop work if you're not quite at the very limit of your tyres. So the gap between the front two has stretched to 2 seconds now between Wedding and Devenish. Scott Nolan is a further 4 seconds back. He looks like he's trying to commit to the 1-stop compared to his teammates. Lime Mitch is a few seconds further back on them, and then it is Hans and Luke Joyner. Joyner's much closer to the tail of Hans this time around. Then it's Hans' teammate in the Ecurie Brunswick Volvo. And then Phil Boak, Turmo, and Brendan Ross is doing some paddock bashing. I wonder what's happened to Rossi there.
Maybe his tyres have been... Well, where is he going?
He got a big spin out of turn 1 and has decided he wants to pretend to be in the horse racing. Yep.
And he's hit an invisible wall. I wonder if there's a lag.
No, he hit an invisible wall there. So we've got Swass in the pits and Hans in the pits. So they're both coming in. Same with Turmo. And Lewis Wedding is coming into the pits as well. So that leaves Devenish out in front by himself to take the lead of the race.
Yep. And that leaves the Mercedes has got himself going again. So that means Hans is pitted, yeah?
Yeah, Hans and his teammate Matt Swass have both pitted.
We're going to go into Hans because that's an important battle. Brock Harvey's just coming through the final corner now. And Hans on the move yet?
It looks like he is. He's out.
He's going to hold that position.
Oh, it's going to be tight. They're going to go side by side into turn 1, it looks like.
No, pretty much as you were. Brock Harvey... Oh, there you go, right on his backside again.
Right on the tail this time around. Can he make the dive into turn 4? There's a little bit of contact, but I think Hans might have just gotten away with that there. So he does just manage to hold on ahead of Brock Harvey for that 12th position. Ozrob is behind them, also on a 2-stop. Well, on a 2-stop rather. And then I think we had... Luke Joyner leads the race now, but he's just taking the scenic route through turn 1. Will Devenish and Scott Nolan have come out. Devenish has come out now. He's completed his pit stop. And
we'll go out to
how
that.
far behind is Scott Nolan and Brock Hart?
Miles behind. Whoa! Sorry to interrupt myself. We just had 3 wide between...
Damien Rasmussen, Scott Nolan, and Lewis Wedding.
Yeah.
So Now remember, Rasmussen, well, at least Hobson, out of those three, is committed to the 2-stop. So he's at the head of this group. Rasmussen is marginal, depending on his tyres. And then I think both Peter Savage, Lewis Wedding, and Scott Nolan are trying the 1-stop. Wedding gets the inside line on Rasmussen for the hairpin, and he's going to hold it through this time around. So, yeah, that's worked out very nicely for the Sierra.
So yeah, that 3 wide moment was Scotty Nolan coming out of the pits while cars were side by side next to him.
Oh,
that's a little terrifying.
I just caught that on the stream in the background. So yeah, crazy stuff. And it looks like, Phil Boak, who was leading the race, has made a mistake.
He is
coming out of turn 4.
And that's a very precarious spot, and he's going to get it going. Still hold the lead of the race, but of course he hasn't stopped yet.
He might not. That's Will Devenish right there. So that's the lead.
Okay. It's a shame for Phil Boak. He was actually doing all right in making a good recovery drive.
He was doing pretty well, and he was making a very good use of the space he had around him. But those tyres must be at the absolute end of their wits at the minute. Of course, he hasn't pitted yet, and going 27 minutes. We're 28 laps in at the moment. He should be coming into the pits now. And no, he continues on. Okie dokie.
Yeah, making use of the M3's famous tyre life, or something.
Well, battle for third between Hobson and Lewis Wedding is on now, same as it was earlier on the race between the HSV and the Sierra. And it actually looks like Rasmussen's caught up onto the back of that, thanks to the cornering prowess of the HSV. A lot of curb from Hobbo there, trying to maximize that corner entry. Remember, Hobbo's got an extra stop to take. So while we watch the group go down the back straight, it's all kind of maybe a little bit artificial where Hobson is at the moment. Although he's pushed Lewis Wedding the whole way across onto the grass through turn 5. And now into the hairpin.
Didn't stop him putting the boot into it, and he's actually was alongside for a moment. Back. Whoa!
Oh, little tap from Rasmussen unsettles the rear of the Sierra, but very lucky not to get sent around there. Rasmussen actually got out of it to give the Sierra of Lewis Wedding just a little bit more traction, so very lucky there.
We saw Phil Boak come into the pits as well. So 20 minutes to go. The order's pretty much cleansed for now. With Will Devenish, Brenton Hobson, Lewis Wedding, Damien Rasmussen and Scotty Nolan making up your top 5.
HSV's got no pace anywhere, right?
Apparently.
I'm sorry, that's a little mean.
Yeah, he's a racing driver. Of course he's going to say he needs more pace.
This is true. This is true. Shall we try and get a bit of a shape of the field at the minute?
We will do indeed. We'll catch Will Devenish at the hairpin and we'll look off the camera.
Big dive from Lewis Wedding into the hairpin. And he's got it done. He's got it done. That was a huge dive. That was from the next postcode back from that Sierra. So this battle of 3 coming back through the final section. That was an amazing move from Wedding. Wow.
That was something. We knew the Sierra is better under brakes, and I think now he's done enough fuel saving, he's going to go, right, stuff this. And his fastest lap of the race as well. There you go.
Wow. Huge, huge work. I don't think it's better under brakes. I think it's just got a longer braking zone because of how fast it is. We get unsettled through that first sector of the lap. Let's see if Hobbo can take an advantage. He's actually going to try and harvest the draft of, I think that's Glenn Miles in the Turmo Engineering Skyline just ahead of them.
Yep, and you got Matty Cecil on the outside as well. This is going to get a bit messy with that traffic as well. But he's not close enough this time, but in fact, Turmo Engineering Machine is going to sidestep nicely, get both Nolan, Rasmussen and Hobson through. And Matty Cecil's going to do the same, is he? Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah, just. Okay, now that that's calmed down, I think now we can take a bit of a look at the field.
We're getting abused for not using his proper name. So Peter Suraj in second.
Peter Suraj. That is actually the real deal. Peter Savage in the chat, giving us stick for that. So apologies.
Okay, so we'll lock off the camera here as we see the battle for second, third, and fourth come through. Matty Cecil jumping the curb. Now that's Ozrob down in 7th place. Lime Mitch in 6th place. And there's Ozrob in 7th. Massive gap back to Brock Harvey, 6 seconds back, who's got a Volvo right behind him again.
And that is Hans Brunswick still.
Then there's Luke Joyner, Matty Swass with the lap down.
Dane Liccardo just spearing off there.
Gravel Rash Racing Machine, Steve Bodger coming through, and there's Turmo in the ring. And car!
Oh!
Has he rolled it?
Oh, he got close. No, he saved it. Saved it in the end.
Okay.
There's Phil Boak in the BMW.
And
he almost tips it over the next corner. Then it's Mike Coulston. That's Wayne Spencer. He's just taken his second pit stop, coming through shot now.
Okay. And there's Will Devenish, our race leader.
There we go. So that's the field at the moment. A bit of excitement there.
Could say that. Matty Setzel's just in the pit lane now after that.
And on that lap, we've actually missed Damien Rasmussen passing Brenton Hobson. So I'm going to have a scroll back and have a look at where that was. And it looks like it was down the back straight. Hobbo got a shocking run and Rasmussen just powered his way around it. So easy done for Rasmussen there. Remember, Hobbo is running on slightly older tyres.
We just saw a Petter Siraj just get past Rhodey, put him another lap down. Did I say just because I think they made contact coming out of the hairpin?
Classic Rhodey. Oh, we've got a spin in turn 4.
Yep.
And it was Dane Liccardo again, so that's okay.
He's having an unfortunate couple of laps now, Mr. Liccardo.
Well, at least he's doing better than he did last race out, where he blew his engine on the first corner. So
just had a brief yellow flag for John McDonald as well, putting it out wide at turn 4.
While the Synergy Sim Dynasty at the front is about to kick off again, I'm actually going to bring our attention back to the battle for 8th between Brock Harvey, Hans Brunswick, and Luke Joyner, who have been attached at the hip for most of the race. They're going through turn 4 at the minute, and they're attached at the bumpers this time around, coming out of the turn 4 corner down the back straight. Harvey's gone to the inside, going to force Brunswick around the outside. There's a bit of an overlap there this time around. Now, as they hit the braking zone, who's braver under brakes? It is Brock, who has the inside line, but Hans tried to do the switchback there, didn't quite get it done. But this battle is certainly energized, and in the background there, that's actually Matt Swass, Hans' teammate, that could buy into it should these guys get into each other over the next few laps.
Yeah, that was Luke Joyner just doing the typical wait for these guys to have I was going to say have a moment of battling and then close up on their battle, but then he almost throws it away over the hump.
That's a terrifying hump there at the final corner, you got to say.
Coming through turn 2, 3. Now, all about traction out of here. Pretty even, I think, this time around. Doesn't look like anyone's going to gain any advantage. Actually, the MHRT machine's slightly better.
He's using as much of the slipstream as he can, is Hans, and again, shapes towards the inside, but can't really get the braking down. This is intriguing stuff from onboard. I'm on board with Hans, and I can see Luke Joyner very, very large in the rearview mirror, and the Commodore ahead of him also very, very large out of the windscreen. Hans is using a lot of curb through that final corner as well, I've noticed.
Well, we've seen that. He's not afraid to throw it over the curbs.
He's not afraid to throw a lot of things around.
This is true. Luke Joyner missed the apex by a country mile at turn 1. It's dropped back a bit.
And that might just give Hans the breathing room he needs. Nope, got too much of the curb at turn 4, and he's going to be settling for the to sit in the wheel tracks of the MHRT Commodore once again.
The Dale Smith flowing machine's not close. He's slightly closing, but he's going to be too far back this time around. Moving out front of Hans, Brock Harvey's pulled away as well. So as you were for another lap.
Now, I just want to make a note here. This is about the time you'd expect the 2 stoppers to come in. We've got 13 minutes left in this race. And we saw, we got a drive-through penalty for Lewis Wedding.
Wonder what that was all about.
I'm going to try and find out if I can.
I'm just going to replay the screen here myself. I wonder if it's a track cut penalty.
Yes, it is. He's gone straight across turn 3. So a drive-through penalty for track cuts for Lewis Wedding. That's a big change in the shape of this race as we approach the final stanza of this race. I think we just had Dane Nakata hit the wall again. So we might see Lewis coming in to serve his
there he
penalty.
goes.
And yeah, he does immediately.
So that's Peter Siraj out of the race for the podium positions at this stage. With 13 minutes to go, hard to see how he can fight back with these Synergy Sim guys, whereas now 2, 3, and 4 on the road.
And we are starting to see the second round of pit stops coming through. Whereabouts? I saw one of the Sierras. I think that was Cam Rutledge. Cam Rutledge? No, Cracker. Cam Rutledge isn't here tonight. In fact, him and Wildcat, Manu Santino, are both in the pits for their second stop. So don't be surprised to see Brenton Hobson coming in for his second stop shortly, if that's the plan for him. Remember, he pitted with about 33 minutes left in the race.
Problem is,
and then, yeah,
if you pit now, there's not a lot of time left and a lot of spread out cars to try and pass.
Yeah, this is true. So, but he kind of committed to the stop by pitting that early. Unless he's pulled an absolute masterstroke and figured out that he could go 33 minutes on a stint as Lime Mitch and Rhodey try to go side by side through the final section of corners.
How'd that work for them?
Actually, not too bad for Rhodey. Terribly for Lime Mitch, because now Lewis Wedding is right on his tail again. In fact, just as a complete aside, Hobbo's just set his fastest lap of the race, his PB, at 58.6.
Wow.
So he's still finding worth in those tyres. Ozrob's coming to the pit, so he was a two-stopper as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll keep eyes on where he pops out, but he didn't seem to have a lot of pace relative to the majors.
So just looking back at this Lewis Wedding Lime Mitch battle for 5th place. Lewis trying to get it down the inside. Actually, I think makes a little bit of contact with the bumper of Lime Mitch as well.
I think Lime Mitch, we'll call that energized blocking there.
Yep.
But Wedding's done a great job to wrap around the outside, and he's going to take that position around the outside of the hairpin. Wow, well done.
Now, I'm going to query that because there was a car sideways and yellow flags out.
Whoa, now that car pulled back onto the circuit. Yeah, now, that's an interesting thing. I'm not sure if AMS penalizes passing under yellows the same way a real race would penalize passing under yellows.
Because the real race would be like, what are you doing, son? Whack.
Well, that would be straight away reported to race control if you saw that happen.
Yeah, you've done that before in real life.
I have in fact done that on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Fun times in the marshalling lab, or the marshal post.
Okay, the Synergy Sim battle is going to get tasty between Nolan and Hobson. The ailing, we think, Hobson, with 10 minutes to go.
And Nolan was the only one of those 3 cars that can definitely make it home without stopping again. He pit just beyond the halfway point, so he's 100% confirmed able to get to the finish on tyres. As far as Rasmussen and Hobson are concerned, there's a big question mark over Hobson and a little question mark over Rasmussen.
Yep. Meanwhile, 6 seconds in front, Devenish. Not as dominant as last week, but he's got himself a nice buffer now.
Yeah, at least this time he's in the same sort of area code or postcode as the guys that he was racing. Last week he was just absolutely untouchable. The Mercedes, he did say that the Mercedes was maybe a sleeper in the first half of the season. So he's coming out now with 2 very, very good performances. We've got 10 minutes left on the clock.
Even less than that, just over under 9.5 as we see Hobbo and Nolan again. Peters, did I mention Wedding got the pass on? I didn't know. Yep. Further back, Brock Harvey and Hans down the inside of the hairpin
again. Oh no, interrupt me. Hobson's gone off around the last corner and he spun it down the main straight. And he's managed to avoid the walls, but he's going to lose more positions here. He's lost 4th and 5th. Now he's down in 6th place. That's probably where he'll sit. Let's have a replay if we can on that one.
Oh, just too much grass, or not even grass, just too much of the exit apron. gas it up, and it will cross the inside. How he didn't hit the fence there, I have no idea.
Wow. A miracle there that Hobson didn't end up in the fence. Those tyres must be absolutely belts at the moment. They've done a lot of work tonight, and that's a tyre mistake, I think.
Yep.
Actually, I'm just going to bring us to 7th and 8th now, because it's on again between Hans and Harvey. This time they got lap traffic, as we see Glenn Miles get a drive-through penalty in the form of Rhodey. And, big send down the inside. Hans gives him room, sees him coming, and they're going to go shoot out side by side in the exit, but I think the Volvo got a little bit of a better drive there. I don't think Brock meant to try and make that move.
No, but he'll take it when he can. That was.
I think he locked up the rears and thought, well, I guess I'm going.
That was very McLaughlin Gold Coast.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, got the job done. And these guys are 7 seconds behind Hobson and closing really fast. Has Hobson gone off again? He has.
I think he might have. Yeah. In turn 4.
Yeah, just got that up on replay now to see what he's done. So yeah, normal racing line at 2, too much grass at 3, and just overshot and ended up skirting the gravel trap and facing the wrong way.
Now this is kind of and I think we must I think Brock must have run wide as well. Yeah, he did run a little wide because he's got locked off the back of Hans and on with Joyner on his rear once again. A bit of a diminishing return situation now for Hobson if he's running low on tyres, because he can't pit and maintain position anymore. If he pits, he's going to lose maybe definitely 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe even 10th.
Yeah, I don't know, if he pits now, I reckon he'll be coming around and Peter Boak.
Exactly. So he's certainly lost a lot more with those 2 little mistakes than he would have if he'd pit when we said he might have to, and gotten onto some newer tyres. So not ideal for Hobbo at the moment. We could see the first instance of him not being on the podium this season. I know, right?
There's an attractive sound for the broadcast. No other real battles on track at the moment, are there?
Not really at the minute.
Not really. That's where I wish we had a helicopter shot.
Pukekohe can afford a helicopter? No.
Yeah, not really. It's a real industrial suburb.
Oh, fair. We got just under 6 minutes left. I think the closest battle on track is still the Hans, Brock, and Luke Joyner battle. I'm just going to jump on board myself with Hobbo and see how he copes around this lap.
Yeah, I'm going to do that as well, because that would be interesting viewing, I think. Hamburger Cam looking frontwards through turn 1. He's very ginger on the gas.
A lot of curb there at 2. He seems to really be struggling at off the corners there, but he actually got a decent run that time around.
With the new JK sign sponsorship, is that new?
I'm not sure.
I haven't noticed that. I haven't noticed it. Full beans through the back straight, because you don't need tyres on a straightaway. Ooh, very squirrely.
A little wiggle there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very ginger on traction. Now, this is going to be the important section, because this is where all about grip from those tyres. Have a good lift.
Huge lift. Very, very ginger there. In fact, I think he's losing time to Hans behind him.
Well, there you go. That lap was 7 tenths down on his best.
A 59.3 versus a 58.8 for Hans Brunswick. So expect to see that Volvo in the rearview mirror get much bigger in short order. And another big wiggle on the exit of turn 4 there for Brenton. He's going to be struggling to maintain the Volvo behind in this lap. Look at Hans go.
This lap I reckon will be okay, but turn 4 is going to be a danger next time around.
Oh, maybe not this lap. Look at how close Hans has gotten as he dives into the braking zone for the hairpin. They got, I think that's Mike Coulston just ahead in the BMW.
Yep.
Again, another little wiggle off the final corner for Hobson. He must be really struggling on those tyres.
He's only got to hold out for 4 more laps, potentially. That's a big ask now.
And he's run wide again. He doesn't even look capable of passing the lap traffic at this point in time. As they come across the line, start lap 47. We've got only 3.5 minutes left in this race.
Hans a much tighter line through 1. Oh, Steadicam was rolled it. Steadicam was rolled it.
Goodbye, Mike.
He's okay. He's fine. He's still going.
Did he actually roll it?
No, I think he nearly rolled it. Nearly rolled
it.
it.
He did just get up onto 2 wheels. Only 2 wheels.
Here we go. Hans down the outside along the back straightaway. Trying to make use of that high line he's run all race.
Oh, Hobo, big lock up as well, trying to defend. And spins it! He spun it around again!
Wow. I'm pretty sure there wasn't contact there.
That was just power on oversteer. Power on oversteer.
And that's going to bring Hobo into 9th place. And tell you what, Matty Schwass has a chance here as well. He's 4 seconds back, but you never know.
Well, I mean, Hans was only 4 seconds back 2 or 3 laps ago as well. So that's a huge moment. Remember, in the championship. So let's not forget, he currently co-leads the championship with the man who is in 1st place at the moment and looking forward to taking his 2nd race win of the series. So this is a huge loss of points for Hobson, finishing down in 9th, if that's where he ends up finishing.
And Matty Schwass has already taken a second out of that 4.5 second advantage.
He's dropping like a stone at the moment. I think the choice to take a 2nd set of tyres, it may be rude in the post-race analysis.
Sorry to interrupt. Hans has just got the hairpin all wrong, and Brock Harvey's got back past him for 6th.
They've been connected at the hip, have these two, all night.
Well, they weren't connected this time. Hans was about a second ahead, and he's just outbraked himself and actually locked the rear brakes and slid it through the corner sideways and actually jumped the inside curb. So that was a big mistake.
Don't know how he managed to actually hold on to that, considering the wild ride.
Yeah, good effort.
He's trying to get around the outside of the Commodore. Here we go. This is going to be interesting now. Hans in the slipstream of the Commodore down the back straight. There's not much between them as they go through turn 5. Hans has got a run here. He's got a great run. He's going to go to the outside once again. Brock gives him 3/4 of a car width of space, and Hans can't get the outside to work. He's trying to get the cutback going, but doesn't quite get it this time. So this is going to be the closest battle on track, I think, until the end of the race, because out front, the gaps are a little wider.
Yeah, the closest up there is 4th and 5th. Oh, Hans, very, very much a wiggle coming over the hump. And that's cost him a 10th or 2 as they start what will probably be the penultimate lap for these guys.
Maybe. Devenish, where is Devenish on track? Let's go find Devenish. He's coming through the final sector now, so there might be 2 laps left of this race. We might hit 52 laps. Okay. It'll be close.
So potentially 3rd to last for these guys. This time around, Hans is really working the draft. He's a lot closer, a lot earlier in the lap. Goes alongside a lot earlier, but even before the kink this time.
And there's John McDonald just ahead, who's going to be the fly in the ointment here for the pair of them. He can't... Oh, he turns down on the pair of them. That's awful for Harvey. It's absolutely ruined his run through the hairpin. Now, Hans has got the outside line. Can he sweep across in front? Yes, he can, but he still has to navigate McDonald now as well. Now, has McDonald seen these guys? Finally, yes, he has. He's run wide and allowed... Oh, no, they made contact!
Oh, no!
They made contact! And they've gone around, both of them.
And there's Luke Joyner coming through. And there's... Oh, no! Ben Miles is now... Oh, and it's Hobo!
Oh, no! What has gone on? What has happened? Oh, no, what an absolute mess.
That was me.
Oh,
yeah.
And Hobo's DNF'd. He's pulled himself out of the race. Wow.
Wow, that was... you can't get on. It was just too far back for replay, but Jesus, what a finish to the race. As Devenish has started the last lap now.
You got me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. That's disappointing. We'd been for a full hour almost just like that tight, and then I don't know, he got a little bit sideways in the middle of the turn, and I couldn't get out of it in time. And now I'm just trying to finish with a puncher.
Oh shit! I'm gonna interrupt you, Brock. Good luck with that. We've got another drive-through penalty for Lewis Waiting. Again, it's got to be for another track cut. And yeah, he took too much curb at turn 2, so that's going to change the results after the flag once again. But coming home through the final 2 corners to win the race, second in a row in that Mercedes, is Will Devenish over the mound at the final corner now. And he will take tonight's race. Round 4 at Pukekohe Park goes to Will Devenish.
2 in a row for Will. Great drive from start to finish. Second place.
Absolutely right.
Second place will be Damien Rasmussen, followed by Scotty Nolan, the SSR teammate, the only 2 SSR cars on the podium. And there's Lime Mitch coming across in 4th, Luke Joyner in 5th. After that penalty, Lewis Wedding, aka Peter Sarajas, are going to be down in 13th.
Ooh, we'll have to see how that plays out in the post-race results. Matt Cecil just crossed the line to finish in 17th, and then it was Matt Swass after his drive-through penalty. John McDonald coming across the line. There is Hans to take home 6th place, I think.
5th in the end.
5th place. Wow. And they were the only drivers on the lead lap. Steve Bolger comes across to finish 6th, which in the end was a great recovery for Bulge, because remember, he was as far as 14th after the start of the race.
Speaking of good recoveries, Peter Boak in 7th place.
There you go. Rounding out the results, Luke Joyner finished 8th, Brock Harvey in 9th with his puncture. Termo is going to cross the line to finish 10th. Oz Robin 11th, Wayne Spencer 12th. Lewis Wedding is relegated to 13th after that last lap drive-through. Mike Coulston 14th, Brenton Hobson DNF'd and is still scored as 15th at the moment, but I'm not sure if there's a running at the end of the race rule, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Cracker 16th, Matt Cecil 17th, John McDonald 18th, Matty Schwass in 19th, I think. Rhodey 20th, Glenn Miles 21st, Manuel Centino, Dane Liccardo rounds out the field.
Yeah, what an interesting race that was. Plenty of on-track action, a lot of strategy.
Differences, yeah.
A really bizarre strategy mistake from guys you'd never see make a mistake like that.
Yeah, I've got to say, the call from Hobson to pit that early and to not pit again, that's put pay to his run at the race. He really had no pace in the last half there. The tires went off an absolute cliff, and he got involved in an incident, and yeah, that was all she wrote. So unfortunate for Hobbo in the end. But on the other hand, looking to the other man that was leading the points coming in, Will Devenish, an absolutely perfect night for you in the end, and we got him in the booth. Will, congratulations on another win.
Thank you. Yeah, pretty chuffed with tonight. I think it was just a matter of not making a mistake tonight, and we were able to do that.
Yeah, a little more challenging than last week though. The gap at the end only how much was it in the end? I think about 13-14 seconds. That opening period of the race for you looked very difficult. Just take us through the strengths and weaknesses of the Mercedes in that opening section of the race.
Yeah, it was actually really frustrating. The Mercedes is absolutely great through the sweeping turns where no one else or none of the cars around me were. But they're not overtaking turns either, so I was basically just hoping everyone in front would make some sort of mistake so I could get at least up in front, up beside them on the back straight. Luckily enough, the guys in front did do that, so it gave us the lead. I knew once we got the lead, we could run away a bit. So yeah, it all fell together really well for us.
Yeah, in the end, you ran home winner by 8 seconds. So a pretty nice night. Another pole position in the books as well. Tonight looked really balanced across all the cars. Did you feel that from the driver's seat? Did you feel that like each car had a chance tonight?
Yeah, and I definitely saw it in practice and qualifying. Look, what was it? The first to 15 was maybe a second or second and a half.
Top 16 was a second.
Yeah, and that's absolutely insane. And it was really great to see, actually. So real credit to Brock and his mod, making these cars as even as possible. yeah, really, really good to see.
And next race out is Wanneroo at Barbagallo, so maybe another chance for the Mercedes there, do you think?
Yeah, so Wanneroo's got the long straights. It's got 2 massive straights, but I think the Merc's still going to have a fighting chance. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Certainly. Well, congratulations on your second race win in succession tonight, Will Devenish.
Thank you.
Second place tonight was Damien Rasmussen. Damien, your first instance on the podium in these cars. Congratulations on taking home second.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, much longer than it should. I've thrown away some probably top 5s already this season, so it's good to get one on the books. I probably should have been up a bit closer to Will. Just made a mistake behind a lapped car, broke early, and it caught me off guard, but it is what it is. I'll take the second.
Yeah, well, second place is still a very good result, and from the trio of you seem to have a lot of good pace tonight. Just on a personal note, have you found it more challenging to get your handle on these cars compared to the TCAC cars of last season?
I don't think it's to get it. You could say it's a handle. I just we all know there's strengths and weaknesses of every car, and we're not real sure where ours is. And Hobbo and Nolan are a lot better at extracting that speed more consistently than I am. So for me to get the same speed out of the car as them, I feel like I'm pushing 110%, which then causes mistakes. In the others, I felt like I didn't have to do that. So it's just sort of, for me to go as fast as I need to, it's also a risk of a mistake. So it's just trying. But feel for Hobbo, I'm not real sure what happened. All I heard was he's done and then he left. So whatever it was, it doesn't sound good. But yeah. Hopefully that drop round will help him.
Yeah, fingers crossed for Hobbo. But in the end, yeah, second tonight for you, Damien, and hope to see you again in the booth in the future. Congratulations.
And yeah, good job to Will. A lot closer this time, but I put in a solid drive, so good on you, mate.
Congratulations. And third place tonight was the Synergy Sim Racing teammate, Scott Nolan. Scott, very interesting night for you. With the only one of the Synergy Sim cars to really commit to that one stop, we thought. Take us through the race from your perspective there.
No, all 3 of us were on a one stop. They just chose when to pit. The tyre wear was definitely not as bad as last round. Not exactly sure what tweaks were made to wear in regards to the way it went from last round to this round, but it was definitely a lot better and a lot closer. But yeah, I just went the even tyre strategy. I saw Brenton try to do his undercut, and yeah, I tried to go with a clear pit lane. But when I did pit, I knew the tyres. I was sort of at that adhesion there where I was like, the next lap could possibly be a bad lap. So I took the punt. I knew Will was sort of in the pit box behind me, but I think he was 2 back in the end, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, got in, got out. Third at the start of the night was probably above par. I just didn't quite have the pace of my other 2 teammates, and Lewis and or whatever name you want to call him, or Will. But yeah, it's definitely a lot close. So yeah, we're happy with third. We roll on with the points, and Will takes the lead of the championship, but we're still firmly there, right in the hunt, and it's a long way to go. Still 8 rounds left. So.
Yeah, I want to make a quick touch on that. So far, it seems that the group of you, so the Synergy Sim Racing guys and maybe Will, are going to be the championship protagonists this season. Do you start to become a bit concerned when you go to tighter, twistier tracks that the Mercedes might have an advantage in? That maybe we need to consolidate for the championship, and then on the other hand, when you get to a track which might have a bit more straight line where you guys might be able to extract a bit more pace, you go, we really feel the pressure to make the most of it. Are you starting to feel that sort of pressure at this stage of the season?
It's still a long way to go. Still plenty of rounds, plenty of lap cars to try and get through without getting hit off the track or anything like that. So anything can happen. So definitely not concerned. Look, if Will wins it, Will obviously deserve to win it, and if we win it, one of us will deserve to win it. So look, the championship will sort itself out. You just got to do the best job you can, and as long as you maintain your consistency, and it's exactly what Brenton has said for the last 5 years, or 5 seasons, I should say. Probably is 5 years. But you know, it'll take care of itself. So my biggest downfall is not having that consistency when it comes to the end of the season. So my job is to, you know, for myself personally, is to just try and keep ticking off the top 5s and top 3s, and hopefully, you know, hopefully the guys around me aren't doing as good of a job. If they do a good of a job, they're going to finish ahead of us in the points, and they're going to deserve to win the championship. So, yeah, not worried about what's coming up yet. We're just going to try and do the best job we can to be at the front.
And you did a great job tonight to take home 3rd place. Congratulations, Scott Nolan.
Yeah,
so that was our top 3 of what turned out to be an absolutely topsy-turvy night of action. A big change at the top of the standings with championship leader Brendan Hobson having that incident, which DNF'd him from the race, and his main protagonist at the minute, at least, Will Devenish, taking home the win. It's
a good thing this series has a drop round, but to burn it 3 rounds into a 12-round or 4 rounds into a 12-round season, it's big ask now.
Yeah, it can't be nice. And especially at a track where the car has shown good pace, and you know his teammates have done really, really well. So it's a bit of a challenge now for Hobbo to claw that back. But on the other hand, you got to say Will Devenish again, just a very good performance tonight, and did exactly what he needed to do in that Mercedes.
And he'll be looking to do that again this time next week when we go over to WA Barbagallo Raceway.
Another one of our famous little bull rings. I really love the Barbagallo circuit, actually.
Me too. It's going to be it'll be same time next week. Any closing comments you'd like to add, sir?
I just want to quickly say another thank you to Brock for this mod. We've seen already in 4 races only 1 double winner, and a great breadth of competitiveness throughout the field. And if you just even look at tonight's running, if we look at qualifying, there was, you know, every single chassis was within half a second of the lead and featured at the top of the field in qualifying. So I think that shows that on a balanced track, you get balanced results, and it's a matter of finding your track in the midst of everything else that's going to give you some good results. So I can't wait to see what other results get thrown at us throughout the season.
Absolutely. Promises to be a great time next week at Barbagallo, all the way up to the 4th of November out at Panorama. So, Michael, thank you again for joining me this evening.
Thank you very much for having me, Kiwi.
Thank you for Never Realmian for his graphics, as always. I'm Chris Riddell. If you're in Melbourne, remember to wear a mask.
Thought you were leading me in there.
No. I'm Chris Riddell. That's Michael Zalavari.
Peace out. Take care.